Good evening, everyone. My name is Leslie Gonzalez, and I'm very excited to be starting my first weekly vlog with my fellow classmates. Very excited to be starting this because positive organizational scholarship is a very brand new topic and concept. This is actually the first time I am really hearing about it. So I'm very excited to start that foundation and to kind of increase and grow my foundation and my knowledge about the subject, and hopefully have help alongside with my fellow classmates as we ride this journey through this quarter together. So for week one, we had readings from our book, How to Be a Positive Leader, as well as Positive Image, Positive Action by David L. Cooperrider. So for the first thing I'm going to kind of discuss is the positive image, positive action. Now, the basis of that paper was really to kind of give us a general intro into positive imagery, also show us the relationship between positive imagery and positive action, and kind of come to a conclusion three purposes that they have for organizations. A lot of that paper had a lot of studies that kind of help support their ideas about the importance of positive imagery and what effect it can really have physiologically and psychologically for an individual. When the book reading How to Be a Positive Leader, now the purpose of that is basically to ignite and inspire new possibilities for action as a positive leader, and how leaders can foster the best human condition for individuals and for organizations as a whole. So what was really interesting was both of these readings both had this topic of the seed idea, something that was newer but was very interesting to see how they both kind of correlated with the same thing in two separate readings. Now, the first reason it was introduced was in the positive image, positive action, was when they stated that human systems are largely heliotropic in character. And they exhibit an observable and largely automatic tendency to evolve in directions of anticipatory images of future. So basically, like plants, what they are saying is that humans have this tendency to grow and flourish when positivity is within that realm. And that you see that just like plants growing in sunlight, this growth towards positive imagery has the same abilities within us individually. It was also discussed in chapter 1, what they called the seed idea. And that was more in reference to leadership and how leadership actions can start out small but expand and grow capacities inside people and organizations. So just like a seed, it starts off as a seed, and over time, with patience, growth, flourishing, sunlight, and all the proper nutrients that it needs, it can grow to this full, beautiful flower. Just like leaders, they have the capability to do the same thing. I just found it very interesting that the concept of the seed idea was introduced in both readings. One thing that I really did enjoy in the positive image, positive action was a lot of the evidence-based research that they included when pertaining to positive imagery and the importance and the studies that they've done on that. And one specific was on the placebo effect, which is where at times they'll do studies where individuals think they're getting a certain treatment or certain medication, but in reality they're not. But they are told that it can be life-changing, that it's going to alter, and it has the chance to cure an illness or rehabilitate in a way. And just this sense of positive affirmations and this sense of hope and chance for recovery is just enough to physiologically make changes in an individual and, alter stress levels and blood pressures and things like that, which is pretty powerful to show the connection of, the mind interconnected with the body and how they're not just two separate entities, but they are super interconnected. One thing that it did state when it discussed this was, which I thought was super powerful, was the greatest value of the placebo is that it tells us that indeed positive imagery can and often does awaken the body to its own self-healing powers. Imagining a positive future outcome is an important technique for countering initial negative images, beliefs, and expectations a patient may have. In essence, it transforms from a negative placebo effect into a positive one. The power of positive suggestion plants a seed which redirects the mind, and through the mind, the body, toward a positive goal. So once again, you hear that idea of the seed. And it just shows how powerful just the talk and how someone has that hope, how it can alter things and physiologically change those things. Another thing that they also talked about, the positive image, positive action, was how even positive emotion can provide, powerful improvements in people. One article stated that a host of diseases, especially various forms of cancers, are associated with chronic and persistent negative images expressed and embodied in feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. While affectivity is notably linked to the phenomenon of learned helplessness, positive affect is intimately connected with social helplessness. So just the power of the mind and that negative, that helplessness, can really put you in this spiral of unwell, poor well-being, no human flourishing. But that positive emotion can create a jolt and kind of create this alteration in the mind and in the body to allow actual healing to occur. And I just thought that to be so powerful because me personally, I graduated from that chiropractic program. So I love bridging science alongside of the positive psychology and seeing not only the psychological changes, but the physiological changes that people can have. So those were two of my really biggest takeaways after doing the readings, but I do have two questions for you. I wanted to personally know if you students believe in the placebo effect, and if you've ever gone over any studies and actually witnessed or seen something occur or done a study where the placebo effect really ultimately had physiological or psychological changes in an individual or a patient, or even something with positive self-talk that really altered your mindset or your well-being or your health at one point, even if you didn't personally experience it, but know a study or someone else who experienced something like that. Another question of mine was that there is a comment in the reading at the very end that really posed a question, and I wanted to know the opinion of my other colleagues and other students if they felt the same about this as it was stated in the reading. And that statement is, Peter Sloterdijk observes that the whole of postmodern society is living within an internal dialogue or cognitive environment of a universal diffuse cynicism. That are throughout our society, there is a widespread disturbance of vitality, a bleakening of the life feeling, a farewell to the defeat idealism, and a sense of paralyzing resentment. Sociologically, today cynicism has become the predominant way of seeing things. So my question really is, do you agree with that? Do you think that predominantly our society now is in a more cynical way of thinking? Is that our initial approach to things negatively instead of a positive approach? And why you think that is the case nowadays? Why has there been that shift? Sorry for being a little bit long, and I'm excited to get the feedback and see what everyone else thinks and what they got out of the readings for this week. Have a good weekend.